Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the MetaCafe. I'm your host, Janet Hickox. Grab your cup of coffee or your tea, sit back and relax, and let's talk a little bit about astrology today. But as you can see, I'm not alone, and I have somebody very special that I would like to introduce you all to today. Her name is Dinah Woodall, and you guys might remember several months ago, I shared with you that I had an Akashic Records reading and how fabulous I thought that was. And I actually shared Dinah's information with you at that time. And then a few months later, maybe, Dinah, just a month or so ago, maybe 2 months, time flies. She was gracious enough to share with me another technology that she's engaged with called rapid transformational therapy. And it was crazy. And it was transformational. That's a good word. And I am so excited by the things that she's been able to help me with that I wanted to share her with you. So welcome, Dinah. It's good to see you this morning, and I'm so happy to welcome you to the MetaCafe.
Hi, Janet. It's great to see you too. Hello, everyone out there. Good morning.
It is a good morning. It's Monday before an election. It's a crazy astrological week. For those of you who are expecting astrology this morning, we'll probably do that more toward the end of the broadcast. I did put out a blog post yesterday with all of the information for the week in it. As well, those of you who are on the astrology and art program that Tam and I are doing, the Astro Inklings, you all received the weekly astrology and the artwork yesterday in your emails. So check that. And we did it in a new format this time in a PDF, which means that it just flows together quite nicely. And so if anybody has questions about astrology, we'll wait until the end. In the meantime, Dinah, why don't you tell us a little bit about you and how you came to be doing these particular types of healing modalities?
Well, let's see. I actually was an accountant for about 20 years. And and 9 years ago, I had a transformational experience myself. A lot of things changed in my life very fast, and I needed to get help for myself. So I sought out natural healing, which I had nobody in my family goes to natural healer. It's just something that wasn't discussed in my family. And the instant my first session with an energy healer was over, I just knew. I just knew that this was what I was supposed to be doing. This was for me. This was the real me right here. This is what I could do. So ever since then, I have just educated myself. It's fascinating to me, and every new certification or new level I get to, I go deeper and deeper and deeper into just this crazy world that we live in and how we respond to that, and answering questions like, how do we create amazing lives, or what is the real root cause that's preventing us from having exactly what we want. And so as I've grown as a healer and therapist, these questions have been answered, and it's amazing.
And on top, you started really though as in massage therapy and doing healing work, Reiki and things like that, right?
Yeah, healing, body work. I created my own form of chronic pain reversal body work, just something that I made up as I went along and discovered things that no one else was talking about. And so I became a Reiki master. So I was doing energy work. And then I realized that I could receive messages from the person's physical body about what was actually going on.
And then that helped your healing with that person as well, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And Dinah, did you notice that when the person on the table whose body begins to speak to you or informs you, did you find that there was more than just a physical reason why people were experiencing their pain or the body's response to what was going on in their lives?
Yeah, absolutely. I've worked with people where I would just get messages, little downloads in my mind. And for years, I didn't trust those. I just thought, boy, that's a silly thought. And then I started to understand when I started doing Akashic Records work with people. No, this is your intuition. This is your higher self. This is an energy that exists in this person. So I would just start saying, hey, have you ever felt like this about this part of your body, or has something? I would just get intuitive hits. And the more that I trusted that and asked the client about those things, the more, the better the healing was. And they started healing on multiple levels.
So you found then that you were doing much more than just working on someone's body. You were, delving into what, emotional, spiritual, mental sort of issues as well?
Exactly. And I could also get intuitive hits about why their lives weren't working or why they were in physical pain, because all physical pain, and you could even say physical pain caused by accidents, I'm talking about chronic pain, exists in another dimension before it becomes dense in the physical body. Everything is started with thought patterns, emotional patterns, and then finally physical patterns. And it's, in the simplest terms, we're denying ourselves of something in our lives. We think we can't have it, or what we want is not available to us. And so we just resist and resist and resist. And the body, you can't ignore the body. I mean, you can for a long time, but eventually it's going to scream at you, do something about me here. We're not in alignment. We're not in our highest path and purpose. And so then you have to deal with a very real physical issue.
And we've all been there, right? We've all had, something going on in our bodies. And it's hard sometimes, I think, when you're in the midst of that pain to recognize that it didn't start there. It's that, somehow your back hurts, or your lower back hurts, or your neck hurts. And you just believe I've got to work with that issue. But what you're saying is that we've got to get deeper with that issue. It's not just the neck or just the back or whatever's hurting. It has a deeper meaning.
Right. Yeah. I've worked with a lot of people that were in chronic pain. Let's say they had chronic low back pain or neck pain or jaw pain. And you start asking questions, and what comes up is they hate their jobs, or they have a boss that terrorizes them. And instead of doing something about it, changing our circumstances because of our either belief system, what we believe is the right way to live or the right way to work, or do what you got to do and work hard, and ignore what we're feeling, our very real emotions. Instead of doing something about it at that level, we stay in, ignore it, and then your body just can't handle it anymore. It's trying to stop you. And it's your subconscious mind, actually, that becomes the body. And the subconscious mind, the mind does exactly what you think it wants you to do, or what you want it to do. So if you say, this job is killing me, I hate my job, my boss makes me sick, this job makes me sick, your mind says, okay, we're just going to make you sick, so you don't have to go to that job anymore.
Let's just make that happen. And then maybe you'll pay attention to what's going on in the underworld of your mind.
Exactly. We'll take care of that. No problem.
It's amazing how fast things manifest when you don't want them, isn't it?
It is. That's why
we don't want our jobs to kill us, or that we but it's funny how when you really want something to happen really good for you, it seems to take forever. But when your mind gets focused in that negative, it just seems like it's very quick to happen. It's so annoying.
Yeah. Well, your mind believes everything you say, everything that you say to yourself. It does not, your body doesn't know the difference between running a race and thinking about running a race. It's, your body's still going to produce the hormones. It's still going to put you, into the action or inaction of, however you need to respond to this. And so if you're in a constant state of stress, just in your mind, thinking stressful thoughts, your body has a physical, a chemical reaction. And people make themselves sick all the time and they don't even know it. They just have no idea.
Yeah, there was, last week, I think it was, or week before last, there was the Global Oneness Summit. And it had interviews by very spiritual and scientific people. And they were interviewing Bruce Lipton and Greg Braden and some other people from the Heart Math Institute. And that was the biggest message that I got that day, was that how powerful our thoughts are in creating the chemicals in our body, or the hormones in our body, to connect up the thought with the feeling. And it's pretty amazing that just, shifting what your mind is doing can really shift your health. But sometimes we need help getting into that mind shift. So I want to go into a couple of other things here that Dinah does. But first, let me just, in case some of you are just checking in with us now, I want to say good morning to everybody. Happy Monday. I hope you all had a great weekend. This morning, I am interviewing Dinah Woodall, who is a friend. She's been a client. She is a great body worker, and she's also doing 2 different sort of modalities, Akashic Records readings and rapid transformational therapy, which I have benefited from both from Dinah in the past several months. And so I really wanted to be able to interview her and expose you all to the things that she does, because it's so powerful in helping you change your life. So let's just reach out here real quick, Dinah, before we go on to Akashic Records readings, and say hello to Kristen. Good morning, Jacqueline and Vanita. Tom, what are you doing up so early? Good day, eh? Standard early is not so early. The daylight savings time, or whatever this was now, Pacific Standard Time, drives me crazy, because you get used to being dark in the morning and then suddenly it gets lighter in the morning. And now we've got these shorter days coming. It's just silly to change time. Good morning, Holly Hubble. Good morning, Linny. Linny's brilliant sparkling light is Lynn Goldberg, who of course shares with us the 64 Faces of Wisdom. And she will be back on Thursday morning and do some readings for us with the cards that she uses. Good morning, Cindy. Good morning, my friend Debbie. And good morning, Mimi and Suzanne. It's good to see you all out there. Now, I'm not sure, Dinah, are you seeing people's comments here?
Yeah, I can see a few.
Okay. Good morning, Linda. It's good to see you too. So if you have questions for Dinah, go ahead and type them up in the chat. And if she doesn't see them, I will. And then we'll take time for questions as we go along here. Okay. All right. So Dinah, say that again.
I said, I love questions, so ask away.
Okay, questions are always great. So I want to segue here from the fact that you've been a body worker. You've been working Reiki and massage. You own your own massage. What do you call it?
Practice. Yeah, practice. Yeah, I've been in private practice for about 9 years. Yeah.
Oh wow! So how did you get from doing that? And you're still doing that, by the way. What caused you to want to move into doing Akashic Records readings? And maybe describe for us what an Akashic Record reading is for people who may not know what that is. So first, how did you get there? And second, what is it?
How did I get there? I am a detective at heart. That is why I was able to transition from accounting to working with chronic pain in the human body, because I have an insatiable curiosity to figure things out. I always have. And so I don't know, I ran across an article on Akashic Records, and it talked about the power of the gifts of your soul. And that when you're using the gifts, the primary energy in your soul's vibrational spectrum, then you can empower yourself and, just raise your vibration and live in joy and work in joy. It's our guide to creating alignment, health, love, abundance. It is the foundation of all good things in your life, is aligning with the gifts of your soul, finding your purpose and doing that. And I have always wanted to help people at the deepest level I possibly could, because I know, or knew intuitively, like we were talking about, that it doesn't start in the physical body. The misalignments, the pain, it starts somewhere else. And so I took a course, and then I took another one and another one and another one, and got to this ninja level of Akashic record reading. And the Akashic records, basically what they are is a fifth dimensional. So we're here in the third dimension. Our thoughts are in the fourth dimension, and then the beginning of where our soul exists is in the fifth dimension. And everything is stored in the fifth dimension, the record of your soul, everything that's ever happened to you in this life, and if you believe in past lives, in past lives. And so we can access that information and ask any question about you and get the answer, and then guide the client through an alignment process where their lives become more abundant, like I said, prosperous, who they really are, because so many people are going through life not really being themselves, okay? And they don't know that they're not being themselves. And we will deny parts of ourselves because we were taught when we were little, we're not supposed to be that way. We don't believe in that. And so someone could be totally unconsciously sabotaging themselves because they deny something about themselves that is actually their greatest gift. So it's very useful information.
Yeah. So let's see here. There's a couple of questions. One says, Tom asks, where are the Akashic records located? I think you answered that by saying it was in the fifth dimension, but he says something about in the Sphinx in Egypt or in a Mental center of the earth dimensionally. I mean, is there an answer to that kind of question? I mean, is there a place for the Akashic records? I mean,
the fifth dimension, they're in the fifth dimension, but you kind of have to understand the different dimensions aren't like we're down here and they're up there. They're all here. It's just finer and finer energies. So energy that's moving faster that we're not able to perceive with our eyes, or can't feel, taste, or touch it. But it's in the fifth dimension. So it's, if you think of your physical body, your butt sitting right here on the chair, and then your mind or your thoughts and collective consciousness is in the fourth dimension, which is, you can't see that, you can't feel it, you can't taste it or touch it, but it's there. You have thoughts, you have intuition, you can perceive things about people, you know things without knowing how you know them. And then one level up from that is the fifth. And some people, well, a lot of people actually have fifth dimensional consciousness. They know that they are a spiritual being having a human experience. So people that have been on this learning path to spirituality, they're becoming more highly conscious. They're probably getting more intuitive hits. All that stuff is coming from the fifth dimension.
That's amazing. Cindy asks if you have a website for those of us that may want to do an Akashic Records reading. And absolutely, I'm sure she does have a website. And I will be typing that in here shortly. But maybe you can just let them know right away, just right now, what your website's address is.
It's my name. It's and Janet, I don't know. Well, my name is probably on the live, isn't it? It's DinahLeeWoodall.com.
Yeah.
Dinah Lee Woodall.
Your middle name. So DinahLeeWoodall.com. Make sure I spelled it correctly, Dinah.
Let's see.
It should be, if you look at your face, you should see it right underneath there.
You want me to look at my face?
Yeah, look at your face, girlfriend.
I can't see it.
Oh, okay. You might.
I'm sure you spelled it correctly.
I'm pretty sure I did too. So DinahLeeWoodall.com, and check out Akashic Records readings. So why don't you give us an idea of what happens during an Akashic Records reading from your perspective as the person going into the records, and from the perspective of the person who wants the reading. So wherever you would start, I think we started with, you had me ask a question or something, a problem that I was struggling with, right?
Right. So basically, I just talk with the person. I get some basic information, name, date of birth, place of birth. And then I ask for an intention from them. You know, what do you want? What do you want to create in your life? Is something wrong? Is there an illness? Do you have pain? A lot of people want to know what their purpose is, or why can't I find love? What's wrong with me? Are there soul level issues that need to be resolved? And my mind is going really, really fast right now, and it's tends to go off track a little bit. So keep me on track, Jen.
Fine.
So I just get a basic intention, and then I have a prayer, and I go into a prayer and start accessing the Akashic Records, and I start asking questions. First thing that I tell clients is about their basic soul profile. So who are you? What primary energies does your soul contain? Because that is like your magic wand to your life. That is the energy that you use the most. It's what you've always been. It's what you'll always be. It never changes. It is how you were stamped out from source. Like when your little soul was spit out of the soul making machine, then you've always been this way, and you always will be. I also talk with them about their soul group. Okay. The people, the sort of people that they are most congruent with. So different people, like there's engineering type souls, and they, love to be around engineering. There's people that just hold the space of healing and divine love for other people. There's different energetic qualities, and I tell them all about themselves. I tell them, I look at their soul's vibration rate, and that vibration rate alone can tell us a lot about where that person is in life as far as consciousness. It can even give us information about their finances. And then we go into the soul level blocks and restrictions. So anything that has happened in this life or even past lives that we have, let's say we created a karmic pattern and it's still affecting us today. It may be from 5 lifetimes ago. It's happening, of course, at the unconscious level, at the soul level, and we don't even realize we're doing that. And it's creating a block for that person to be able to be really abundant. And then so we take all of this information. It takes about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes to go over all the information. And then I guide them. I do a clearing. So we clear everything that doesn't need to be there. And then I guide them towards things that they can do in their lives to taking action in their lives to create alignment. Okay. It's about a person getting to know who they really are at a conscious level so that you can stop denying who you are and start getting what you want.
Oh, I'm sure that Dinah pulled her hair out with me because I go kicking and screaming into these things. And the first thing she tells me that my soul group was here, I was with the group of teachers. And of course, everything from my human design to now an Akashic Records reading tells me that, but I'm always in rejection of that, even though it's what I was doing when I was a little kid. I wanted to be a teacher. I just never seemed to get there. And through her guiding me through this Akashic Records reading, it became painfully obvious why I was avoiding it in this lifetime. So it did help. It did really, I don't know if I've ever shared that with you, but it really did maybe crystallize for me, or in some way it was like, Dinah wrote me a permission slip to be who I always thought I was, but was afraid to be. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So in that respect, then it's hugely impactful when somebody does this and you awaken. It was really funny because part of my, I don't remember what you called it, Dinah, but I was a part of the human design blueprinters. And I was like, human
Yes.
design blueprinters? That is too funny. Or I was part of the blueprinters who were here to do the human design, but not necessarily astrology. But it's
Exactly.
that's how I ended up doing it.
Exactly. So Janet is from a particular group who is responsible for figuring out how to get this divine soul and stuff it into a human body. And so that's what you guys figured out. And I tend to attract that type of person into my practice, people who really are interested and vested in serving people at their highest level, and they're really into the details and mechanics of how all of this works.
Yeah.
So it's perfect.
I found it very first of all, it blew me away. The whole thing, the whole experience was just beyond belief. But I have a question for you, Dinah. Is this something that people can do for themselves, or is it always recommended to have a guide? Because I can tell you from my point of view, I would hesitate to go and do it on my own. But what do you say about that?
I don't know. I personally don't have a gift that would have, I would never be able to just spontaneously figure out how to do this. I had to learn from a master teacher how to do this, and she is awesome, because you have to be careful about what you ask. The universe or the divine, sees us as the authority over our lives. Okay. So we don't ask permission. So there are certain types of questions you ask and others that you don't, because some questions would just be convoluted and you're not going to get correct guidance. I mean, they're not going to give you, the winning lottery numbers or anything like that. But also, now, if someone is very psychic and very intuitive and has a good understanding of what they are, where they are, and exactly what they're accessing, because some people will just say, I want to access spirit. Well, there's all kinds of stuff out there, and you really need to have a very solid intention, and know what you're doing at a conscious level. So I would not personally try to access them myself. That's just my opinion. There's a lot of detail.
I don't think I would have done it either on my own. I know there are books out there written about the Akashic Records and how to do an Akashic Records reading, I think is the title of a book. And I did try to do that myself. But I think what happened for me is that it's hard to trust what you're getting because there's not an objective party in there. So I think maybe some people could be really good at that. But for me and probably most people, having someone go to the Akashic Records on my behalf is probably a good thing.
Right. Yeah.
I tend to believe it more. So there's a couple of questions out here. One, Tom would like to know if it's possible to do a mini reading.
Does he mean live on the show? I'm not.
Yeah, really, I don't know, Tom. I'm not sure that I would even try to do that kind of a mini reading, but
yeah, it takes me. So when I go into the record, it takes me, I do research. So I go in and research who you are at the level of the soul. So that could take me anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour before I even talk with you. So I go in and do all the work before I ever start talking with you so that I'm prepared, because it is doing spiritual detective work. It's not, I guess some people are able to access different points of information. Some people that are clairvoyant may be able to tap into, I don't know, the fourth dimension and just know things about you. But that's not the kind of work that I do. Now, as I'm talking with you, I might get downloads during the conversation. That actually happens quite a lot.
Yeah, I would imagine. To me, when I think of the Akashic Records, I think of it as a sacred place. as a place to be venerated and respected, and as such, then going into it with the correct sort of intention, as you say, and not just willy-nilly going, oh, yep, that's it. Okay, go. I mean,
Exactly.
you could do psychic readings that way for sure, but I think the Akashic records require a little more respect, and accessing that information on people's behalves. So we have Tam. Good morning, Tam. She says, Gadzooks, I'm so excited. The Akashic Records is a big deal. I have been seeking a good reader. Yay. Well, Tam, you have found one. DinahWoodall.com. Her name is up on the screen. If you take her name and put it all together in one, you'll have her website. Just add .com to the end. Happy birthday, Tina. She had her birthday on the 3rd. That was just Saturday. So happy birthday to you, and thank you for joining us this morning. Good morning, Colleen. She says she's having trouble with her connection today. Well, you know what? I've been having all kinds of issues. In fact, I just realized this morning, just like 2 minutes ago, that I'd forgotten to plug my computer into my cord into my computer. So we almost just like dumped the whole show because my computer would have died. The battery. We're a little ditzy today. It's okay. The sun is in a trine to Neptune, so things are a little cloudy out there. Lynn, good morning. Love hearing about and learning about the Akashic Records. Yeah, it's fascinating. So what else would you like us to know about the Akashic Records and about an Akashic Records reading?
So the Akashic Records are like I said, the information about who you are as a soul never changes. So once you discover who you are, great guidance tool, because you can start using more and more of the energy you're designed to use and stop, at least consciously, sabotaging yourself or making choices that just don't align with who you are. To know, you're always saying, know thyself, know thyself.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, this is really another tool for getting to know who you really are. And it teaches you at a conscious level. So you have the conscious information to use, every day of your life, every day of your life.
Now, how did you get from Akashic Records readings to doing rapid transformational therapy, which is the second thing that Dinah does, the third thing really, if you count her healing practice? Yeah. How did you make that, and is it something that works well with Akashic Records readings as well?
Yes, it works great. Let me just tell everybody what it is real quick. Yeah. So rapid transformational therapy was created, pioneered by a lady named Marissa Peer. You probably a lot of you have seen her on YouTube, and she's at A-Fest and just this wonderful speaker. And she has TED Talks and things like that. And it's a hybrid therapy that is a blend of psychotherapy, neurolinguistic programming, regression, and hypnosis. Okay. And it's amazing. I mean, it just blew me away when I discovered it. Now, I didn't take the course for a long time. I thought about it, and it was my daughter who worked with me at my therapy practice for a little while. She's like, I'm doing it. I'm doing this, Mom. I have to. And I was like, okay, well, I'll do it too. But it's great because what it does, RTT, Rapid Transformational Therapy, works with the subconscious mind. So the things that are hidden in our bodies, things that we cannot access with our conscious mind. So it works perfectly with the Akashic Records because we have the conscious information about who we are and how to align. And with RTT, we get rid of all the stuff, all of our fears, phobias, all the past trauma, all the I'm not enough, I'm not lovable, nothing I want is available to me, I'm not good enough. We get rid of all that crap with RTT. Because you can tell someone all day long, you can do this, and you're a bit, you are designed to do that, and this is what you do. But if someone has a deep belief, subconscious belief that they're not enough, or that I'm just not lovable, they're not going to take action. So this helps you take action, and it works really fast.
And it's also very, very emotional.
It is very emotional. So
Yeah,
we have.
Yeah, go ahead.
It is very emotional, and it has to be. And the reason why is because what put that subconscious belief in your body in the first place was an emotional experience. Usually a traumatic emotional experience. And when I say traumatic, that is subjective, okay? It was from your perspective. Okay, to an adult's perspective, whatever it was may have been no big deal. They may have just been having a bad day, saying, get out of my face, you're too loud, you're crybaby, go to your room. And then all of a sudden, this little kid, because it always happens, and it starts in childhood before the age of 7, when we're developing our personality. And then it's stuck there because it's not dealt with. We usually stuff it down. Or let's say, what if it was our mom that made us feel, that we felt unloved by our own mother? Well, usually it's the mother figure, or the more feminine figure, that will comfort us, when we're having, so we stuff it down if we're not able to deal with those emotions, and they aren't dealt with. And then every experience after that experience is stacked on top of that. Okay. So I can say we make our beliefs. This is one of the things that we teach people about their mind, is you make your beliefs, and then you go out into the world. The universe has to reflect back to us what we believe. And so then our beliefs make us. We make our beliefs, and then our beliefs make us. And the reason why so many therapies don't really work is because you're speaking from your conscious mind. Like, I can remember that this happened, or I can remember that that happened, but you usually don't remember the things that are pushed down in our subconscious mind. And so you may get the top layer of the problem with, say, talk therapy or something else, but this gets to the very root problem. So the very bottom layer of that problem, and you pull that out, and the whole stack of issues just vanishes.
Yeah. So there's a couple of questions out here.
Yeah.
Going back a bit to the Akashic Records. Tina wants to clarify, you're not cleaning out our record. You are helping us navigate and heal from the records.
Okay, say that one more time, Janet.
She says, to clarify, you are not cleaning out our record. You are helping us navigate and heal from the records.
We're doing both, actually. So what I do is I help you understand who you really are at soul level. So at the moment your soul became an individuated expression of the divine, help you understand who you really are. But throughout our lives, throughout lifetimes, we accumulate things that don't belong there. And there's many, many examples of that. We create attachments with other beings. Let's say you have a soulmate attachment from someone that from not even this lifetime, and you make a vow, which a very real vow to this person, that you will always be with them, that you will never leave their side. And then your life was over. That promise was still embedded in your soul. And now you're incarnated in this lifetime, and you feel like something's missing from your life. Like you've not found that one, that there's this one person and only one person that could ever fulfill you or that you could ever, live your life with. And so some of these things don't belong anymore. They don't fit because we carry them over from lifetime to lifetime. There's no such thing as time in the Akashic Records. So it stores everything. Your soul is also timeless. So you may have these beliefs that you don't need anymore about who you are, or vows or contracts that you've made with other groups of people. You've also got to remember how superstitious we used to be as humans and the things that we would do. Huh?
Still are.
Yeah, exactly. We just weren't as conscious as we are right now. And so we eliminate the stuff that doesn't belong there. There's going to be some weird things that happen in there. They're not scary. They're just things that can drain our energy, so we can have some sort of energetic leaks and things like that.
Yeah. So let's see. Linda says years ago, a friend of hers that passed away took her to the Akashic Records. He showed her her personal records, and it was a life-altering experience for her. That's powerful. Tina then says, is it appropriate for someone else to do anything with our record other than examine them and make them visible to us? This feels invasive. That's a good, that's a good point.
Yeah, so no one is supposed to access another person's Akashic record without their permission. I'm not saying they can't do it, but if they do, their karma works 24/7.
Yeah.
It is invasive. It's none of anybody's business unless you ask them to do that on your behalf. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's a really good point, Tina, and thank you for bringing that up, because it does. I mean, you're really putting trust in the individual that you're working with, that that they're a clear channel themselves and so forth. No matter which thing that you do, whether it's an Akashic Records reading or the RTT, you have to be able to trust the person that's doing that work to be a clear channel, to have good intentions themselves, and to be able to hold that information without using that information. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Any other questions here? I think that's it for that. So let's go back to the RTT, or the rapid transformational therapy, and tell us a little bit about what a session looks like, or how that works. Because you were in Georgia, I live in Washington State, and we did this very successfully, which I was dubious about in the beginning, I have to admit, but obviously it worked. And so tell us about what that session looks like.
Yeah, so I do this in my office with people. I do this, all over the world on camera through Zoom. So we don't have to be together in person. So again, I get your intention. What do you want?
Yeah.
Okay. Which is half the problem, actually, because some people don't even know what they want, but they know what they don't want. Okay. So we start with something. What's happening in your life right now? And what do you want? I ask them, if I had a magic wand and I could grant you one wish, what would you want? What do you want to leave our session with today? What is it that you want? And so even if they say, well, I don't want to be sick, or I don't want to be in chronic pain anymore, or I want to make a lot of money, or whatever, we work into what that person actually wants. So we get clarity. This works with, people that have anxiety, depression. They want to increase their financial income. They want to improve their sports performance. I've worked with professional dancers, infertility issues. I'll think of some more, but some hair loss, skin issues, fibromyalgia, migraines. One woman's scoliosis was fixed. And I'll tell some of these stories in a minute, but basically, I get your information and I take you through a relaxation exercise, or what we call an induction. Okay. So we get you into alpha state, which is where you're very suggestible. This is the same state you were in when your trauma, we'll call it just your emotional trauma, was created. When before we're the age of 7, we're mostly in a theta brain state, out between alpha and theta, and we take everything in. So we're in a slightly hypnotic sort of state when we're young, and everything gets in there. So we take you back into that state to be able to find the problem and heal it. So we put you into this state. It's very easy. It takes 5 minutes. And then I ask your mind, your subconscious mind, to locate when the problem first occurred. And your subconscious mind knows everything about you. It remembers everything. It's kind of like the Akashic record. There's no time. It records everything about you, just like a disk drive on a computer. It records everything. So when you give the directions to the subconscious mind to locate exactly when, what age, root cause, what you're experiencing, it looks it up, it Googles when that happened and finds it for you. And we go, oh, okay. So what is the meaning of that? So this is what happened. You just review what happened. You've already been through it. So you're not reliving it, but you're reviewing it. And we do this several times until we get a clear picture of how these 3 to 5 things that happened created what's happening in your life today. And then we change it. We go through a whole 30-minute, we go through several steps. It's about a 2-hour process. Yeah, it takes me 2 hours. Yeah. It's really, really deep, transformative work. Because some people, the reason why a lot of our, quote unquote, modern practices or medicine doesn't work is because it only puts a Band-Aid on the symptoms. And we don't go, deep enough into the psyche and the memory to find out what really caused the issue.
Yeah. And this uncovers things, by the way. I mean, I was really kind of floored in retrospect, looking back at the places in my timeline that I went. And it was amazing because some things that I remember I think we went to 4 different things, and I remember all 4 of them very clearly, but they would not have been the things that I would have thought of as the source of the problem. So I found that part fascinating. Yeah. And the session was so deep that I literally, the rest of the day, I was like milk toast. I just couldn't do anything. But by the next day, it was like something just snapped and my whole field felt different. So we have a couple of questions here. Debbie asks, what if you have no clue of just one thing you want?
That's okay, Debbie. A lot of people will put, 10 things they want. And then I sit and talk with you before we ever start. And we figure out together what's really the most important thing to you. So it's fine. You don't have to already know. Like I said, half of the people on the planet don't really know what they want. They only know what they don't want. And that's good too, because we can use that as a starting point. Yeah. And a lot of times the thing people think they want isn't even really what they want. So I have questions that I ask so that we work together to figure out what you really want.
Remember, she's an investigator kind of person, and she's curious. So she's going to ask all kinds of questions. And that probably serves you really well, Dinah, in working with people, because, a lot of people, including myself, I was sort of like, I don't know what I want exactly. But I think we all have this sort of idea. And I want to scroll back here a bit because I think it was Tina said something about overwhelming fear of not being wanted or loved. And is that something that would be best approached by an Akashic Records reading or RTT or both?
I just got chills because this is one of the things that's really closest to my heart to work with people with. If so many people just do not love themselves, okay? And there are many reasons for that, but it will sabotage your entire life. I mean, you just won't ever find it. So I don't know that I'm answering your question, but before I forget, Janet, because it goes with her question, and something you said about your whole field felt different.
Yeah.
Eliminating these things that have happened, these memories, these traumas, these experiences at the subconscious level gets them out of your vibration. Like it removes it from your physical body's vibration. So you get an instant up level in physical vibration. So you can start attracting better things immediately. It's really weird. And like you said, like you felt different the next day.
Yeah. And, and once I might have felt different right away, except I was tired. I was just emotionally wrung out. And, but it was something that I just felt lighter. And now this is an interesting thing I just realized. When I look back over those same experiences in my childhood, I don't have any charge on them.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Because the emotion is gone.
Yeah. I just realized that while we were talking, is that I didn't think about it, but now I'm looking back at all the different things and I'm like, wow, there's not that emotional connection anymore. Now I can't even tell you why it is those things would have been such a problem for me, except I know they had been, but that's kind of an interesting thing to look back at.
Yeah. It really clears your field. So let's say when I had my first session, I noticed immediately that people started looking at me like people, out in public. I'm usually like, I'm in disguise when I'm out. I don't want to, I really am like the detective. Like I've got my hat on, my sunglasses in the grocery store. I'm like, I don't want to look at anybody. I don't want to look at anybody. And, but it is an instant shift in your vibration. And so you just, you start attracting different circumstances immediately. I have so many stories about people who immediately got job offers or immediately met someone, that became a romantic interest for them or a partner for them.
It is pretty amazing how things just pop and change. Let's see if there's any good comments here. Debbie says that's a good one. Thank you. Kathy Miller, good morning to you. Shelley Pedro Swanstrom, could this erase my memories with my mother-in-law? She's got a little laughing face there.
We can change the meaning of those memories with your mother-in-law, especially. Man, there are a lot of people who have troubles with their in-laws. It's a real thing, It really is.
True, and I've been really lucky. I've not had that. I mean, I've had issues with family members over the time, but not. I would never have thought I had issues with my mother-in-law. Holy cow, she's the one that opened the doorway for me for astrology, and so
really?
Amazing.
That's awesome.
Yes, I was sharing about her last week when she was Catholic. And she every Friday would read tea leaves and cards for people. And she was very much a fan of astrology. And when I first met her, she said, "What sign are you?" And as soon as I told her I was a Gemini, she was like, "Oh, that's fantastic, Terry. This is the one for you," because he has his moon in Gemini. And she was a Gemini. So it was funny. She ordered me my first astrology report.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah, so I had a good experience with in-laws, but I know sometimes that isn't exactly the experience that people have. So quickly, because we're getting closer to the end of the hour and people are now wanting your contact information, but you have a webinar coming up that I want you to be able to share with people. So tell us about, the From Pain to Purpose webinar.
Yeah, so I wanted to offer everyone an opportunity to experience what RTT feels like what it really is. And so I put up a page where you can sign up to be there. It's next Monday. It is November the 12th. And it's going to be at noon Eastern time. I may offer one other time on there, which would be for you, like you're in Washington.
This
So
time
that's
would make us 9. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm on the East Coast, but it's going to be at noon. And if you can be there, I would love for you guys to be on it so I can go into more detail about this, answer your questions, because I love talking to you guys, and take you through the process so you get a feel for what it's like, and you'll get a little vibrational up level during that webinar too. It'll probably be about 60 to 90 minutes long.
Okay.
So feel free to sign up, and if for some reason you don't get a confirmation email, I will fix that. I've been having a little bit of computer issues, but it will let you sign up.
So I posted the link here. It's showing on the page, or it's showing under our faces at the moment. So they can click on that link and they can register for the webinar. It's completely free. And let's run your information. How can people get a hold of you? By the way, I'm going to take this off the screen, but you guys, it'll still be in the chat, so you'll still be able to access it. And for those of you who are tuned in later, watching this after, maybe this afternoon, the link is in the chat and you can access that. So I'm going to put up your website again, which, I haven't put it up yet because I didn't want to lose that other link.
Yeah, that's okay. It's dinahleewoodall.com. And you'll see my homepage there. It is right now, it's geared towards entrepreneurs. Don't worry about that. I'll work with anybody on any issue. I love helping entrepreneurs align their purpose with their finances and become abundant. But there's a button right there at the top that just says sign up. I'm not on my website right now, but it's like sign up for a free 30-minute conversation with me, and it'll ask you to answer a few questions like, what are you currently dealing with? And you just put a few things in there so I can get some idea.
Yeah,
and
/transform.
Is that what it said? Okay, it should be right on the home page too.
It is right up at the top right corner. Work with me and /transform.
Okay.
And when I click on it, it takes me to Liberate Yourself. Watch a video. Yeah, so people can find that quite easily.
Okay, awesome. Okay. Oh, there's a video on there too. I don't even know what I said. That's okay.
I'm sure it was perfectly good.
But anyway, just click on that, book a free call. We'll get on here on Zoom for like, 30 minutes. And you tell me what's going on. I'll tell you what I can do if I think I can help you. And we'll just set up something for you. It can be a combination of things. It could be one thing or the other. It's whatever you need.
That sounds great. So dinahleewoodall.com. And is there a contact page there? So when they click on, to set up an appointment with you, does it give them your email address or?
What it's going to do, it's going to take them to an online scheduler.
Yes.
And so they just pick the date and time and they fill in their information, and then they'll get an email from me, and we'll just get together and talk about it.
Nice. So Gail says, Dinah, where are you located here on the East Coast?
I am in Georgia.
Are you in Georgia or South Carolina?
Well, okay. I technically live in South Carolina. I'm like 2 miles from the Georgia. I lived in Georgia for so long. I just automatically say Georgia, but I am I'm right between Atlanta and Charleston. So I live in a great place. I can access all the cool cities. Yeah.
Let's see. Cindy Mitchell says, I will sign up too. This is great. Thank you. Shelly says, sounds cool. I will sign up.
Yay.
And anything else? So great. So much information that you have. And sorry, you guys. I was thinking about this and bringing you here this morning. to share, what your work is with everybody. It all dovetails so nicely with the work that I do in terms of human design or astrology, because we start with knowing who we are. And that works with an astrology reading or with human design. And then we can also pinpoint those challenges, because you come to the reading knowing what your challenges are, and you're offering the way for people to gain access to a deeper quality of healing and to be able to access the subconscious mind. I find that very like stair steps, right? Just to be able to become wholly who you're meant to be, living your authentic self.
Yeah, absolutely. It does. And speaking of human design, like the investigator part, you already know that, right? About
Oh
the
yeah, you said
5-1.
that. She's speaking from her profile. um,
So it does go perfectly. It really does.
yeah, yeah. So thank you for joining me this morning, Dinah. It was absolutely fun being able to chat with you and to share your work with everybody. So remember, everybody, that all of that information that we shared, Dinah's website, dinahleewoodall.com, is on the chat stream on the Living Astrology Facebook page. Take her up on the 30-minute, was it a 30-minute session?
Yeah, it's going to be probably a 60 to 90-minute webinar. It just depends on how many questions people have. But that way I can be there with all of you in a live situation, and you can ask me questions. I can talk with you and explain the rules of the mind, how this all works, why it works. And then I'm going to take you through an RTT session.
Woohoo! All right. So Linda says, love your presentation. Tom says, thank you, Dinah. Thank you, Janet. Kristen, if not able to listen live, will we be able to listen later?
I can make that happen. I can make the recording available. Maybe, I don't think the video part would be available, but I could make the audio part available.
If you need help, Dinah, with that, I can tell you exactly how to turn it into a YouTube, and you can set it for private so that only the people you email it to can access it.
Yeah.
Or if you want it out there for all of YouTubeville to have access to, it'll be out there too.
Yeah.
So, but I can help you with that part. So,
okay. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it for us this morning. Thank you again, Dinah. I so appreciate your time. And thank you, everybody, for joining us this morning. Tomorrow will be election day, so we'll be sitting on pins and needles and watching the results, or maybe it's a better day not to watch the results. Anyway, in the meantime, we'll be here tomorrow talking about that. And I hope you all have a great day. Thanks so much. Mwah! Much love to everybody. Bye for now.
Thanks, Janet.
You're welcome.